Zhezhi has been quite a fun character and I am loving her gameplay. She can quickly build up her concerto, allowing her to be played as a quick swapper, and she can even be a main carry thanks to a certain character. She is a very flexible unit like Yinlin, and any character who wants to use their resonant skill will surely be buffed by her presence. I'm Void Enigma, and I'll be going over Zhezhi's best teammates. Let's begin to paint the canvas by introducing Jinhsi. We have to start with Jinhsi if we talk about her best teammates because she was essentially made for Jinhsi. What you want to do is to start combat and quickly get Jinhsi's outro buff up, and then you can actually continue your normal gameplay loop. Thanks to both Zhezhi and Verina's coordinated attacks, Jinhsi will quickly stack up her gauge, allowing for more seamless combat. You will have to play a little more strategically since Yanwu did provide a ton of defensive utility for the team, but Zhezhi provides substantially more overall damage. I know you didn't come here to hear about Jinhsi being her best partner, so let's talk about the other pairings. And that's going to be Changli. Changli is actually phenomenal with Zhezhi. Since Zhezhi can quickly get her concerto gauge up, I found that the best way to implement them in a team together is to do the double intro tech with Changli. Essentially, you start with Changli and do quick swap techs and get up the concerto for both Verina and Zhezhi. You want to be careful not triggering Zhezhi's outro too quickly, and I found it to be very easily manageable as long as you're not using the variation weapon on her, which actually gets her concerto gauge up much quicker. So, you use Verina's outro into Changli, then immediately use Changli's skill to get 2 true sight stacks, then you quick swap to Zhezhi, get that outro up, and then that will go into Changli again to get 2 more true sight stacks and you get off a ton of damage quickly. All of this is being buffed by Zhezhi's outro, so you're going to really be able to stack up a ton of damage. It works really well. You can get a lot of burst damage during this time window. Of all of her quick swap teams, this one is comparable or possibly one of her best, but I do think that the Changli Encore team has a higher ceiling for those of you who are really skilled with quick swaps. Definitely a fun and competent team, so give it a try for those of you who have Changli. Now, the best 4-star character to pair along Zhezhi is going to be Sanhua, especially if you want to run main DPS Zhezhi. The basic attack buff is insane on Zhezhi. 90% of Zhezhi's damage is considered basic attack, so this is going to be a substantial buff. Sanhua's entire kit is also buffed by Zhezhi thanks to it buffing her glacial damage as well as buffing her resonant skill damage, and the outro will let Sanhua deal a big spurt of damage in the short window that she's actually on field. Definitely give it a try for those of you who have Sanhua raised. This is a very good team setup. You will need a 5-star weapon on Zhezhi if you want to have her as a main DPS, so definitely keep that in mind if you actually want to try this team. Chixia is another character that comes to mind because most of her damage comes from her resonant skill. I am getting some impressive numbers with the resonant skill with Zhezhi, and if I manage to max out Chixia, then I'm sure that I could beat Tower of Adversity with this team. Changli is a much better partner overall for Chixia because of how much buff she provides, but it's still a good option. Some honorable mentions for some good pairing are Havoc Rover and Yinlin. Havoc Rover has better teammates overall with Dungeon and Sanhua, but a well-built Zhezhi will be able to do some serious damage. As I said earlier, she is very similar as Yinlin because she has the ability to quick swap and deal off-field damage. She is essentially future-proof as any future Glacio character, or a character who specializes in resonant skill damage, will be able to use her entire kit. If you really like her design, then I'd really recommend that you get her. Let me know what teams you came up with for Zhezhi and which ones you were having the most fun with. Like this video if you found it enjoyable, and consider subscribing for more Wuthering Waves content in the future. Until next time, Enigma out.